What's up, guys? What's up? All right. Back at it again, folks. Okay, let's have some fun with this one. Okay, here we go. That should be right on the money. Buenos dias. What's up, Luis? Happy Monday, man. Omar. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm here. I just got back to my spot here. So got back here, set up, ready to trade. Friday, man. Volatile, huh? What a volatile day. I know I wasn't live with you guys on Friday, but I wanted to, had some family over. A little sister flew in. Spend the weekend there with the fam. So I had to unplug a little bit. So if you reached out to me, I'll definitely be getting to you today and get back to our schedule here. What's up, Cypress? Let me know, everyone, in the chat what you're grateful for today. And then if there's anything that you guys are looking for in particular in the markets today, we had a lot of volatility due to, Iran-Israel conflict. That creates a lot of different speculation. Angelo, buenos dias, bro. Bendiciones. Hey, congratulations, bro, on the house. Just saw you close the house. Congrats, man. What's up? What's up, David? Omar? EUGU possible sells. What's up, Eduardo? A stronger version of it. Exactly. I love it, man. I love to see it. That's the gratitude we got to be having right here. All right, so as you guys, you're going to dive in. Remember, it's a fresh new week. We want to make sure that we're not bringing last week, whether it went really well or really poorly. We don't want this extra unnecessary energy, the baggage, the weight of last week. We just want to trade fresh from scratch. So want you guys to make sure you feel pretty dialed in. And then, so let's go take a look at some setups here. I'll start with indices. And I see that the majors are also giving some quality as well. All right, what's up, Drip? Now, big thing for those of you that trade futures, you should have noticed new contract trading. So if you're on Top Step, you may not even usually notice this. I don't know what's going on here. But if you're on Top Step, then you should be noticing new contracts, so MYMU, NQU, etc., etc. And then for those of you trading, let's say Apex, or if you use a copy trader, just make sure you have the right contracts chosen, selected as you go to trade. So let's see here. Okay, so I'm, for whatever reason, just as soon as I went live today, we started having extra issues, but all right. Everything's refreshing. Okay, in the meantime, what I want you guys to also just take note while all of this is, figuring itself out. I want you guys to take note of this week's fundamental news. So, all right, let me get this up, guys. 1 second. Give me a sec here. So today we'll have the BOJ policy rates. So that means the the Bank of Japan. So if you guys like to trade the yen, maybe even the index, the Nikkei, during Asian session, it's going to be a good one. Tomorrow we have the core retails news event with the dollar. So I would expect that happening around 7:30 a.m. Central Time. So about an hour before New York Open tomorrow. See some volatility. I may or may not do a Zoom in the Tradetopia community. So you guys stay tuned. If you want the special extra sessions, bonus sessions, breakdowns, then make sure you join the community. That link is in the description here, and also it should be actually I don't think it's pinned, so let me go ahead and pin that. Now Wednesday is the day. Wednesday, guys, we're gonna see absolute mayhem. We have unemployment claims, we have federal funds rates, the economic projections, this statement, the press conference. So Powell will be going absolutely crazy. Well, he'll be creating a crazy environment for us, which is fantastic. We want the volatility. It should set up the market. From what I'm seeing, I feel like we're going to end up getting the maybe the beginning of a bullish summer here. So I think it can be a catalyst for that on Wednesday. Now that is going to be at 1 p.m. So if you do want to trade the FOMC live with me, it's not going to be on here. It's going to be in our own community. So extra bonus for those of you that are just kind of active in there. And then you also get Thursday some extra news events, but that will be with GBP. And then finally Friday, we'll wrap the week up with some more GBP and yen news. So really early on in the week, we'll have the high impact news. Does that mean that there will be no volatility at the end of the week? No. We're going to get some more. It's just not going to be a scheduled, typical volatility that you can be expecting. But we'll still be getting some good volatility after FOMC, probably around New York Open. We may, rebalance some of those FOMC moments. We may mitigate something depending on how we see things roll out. But today there's no specific dollar news or indices news, but with what's going on right now, with strikes in back and forth with Israel and Iran, I would say expect the unexpected all week. Okay, expect the unexpected all week. Now we have about 7 minutes until New York Open, so let's dive into what we can expect out of the market, and then I got a few things for you guys today. So okay, here we go. Zoom in a little bit. So as I'm looking at what we have going on here, and while I'm seeing let me see, let me zoom out. I just want to get one screen at a time right now. We're looking at the market here, and we finally come back down to mitigate, June 2nd, so last Monday or 2 Mondays ago. We get back down to mitigate this New York Open sell-off. If I go pull up just the mini, right, Dow Jones here, I want you guys to see we end up coming all the way back down to these zones. So we see price get to these levels. Let's see if I'm looking to see what has a little bit better fills, because right now we're kind of crossing over into the new contract. So, but anyways, you kind of see how the market gets all the way back down to here, right? That was a zone that it was playing out of, and we get this mitigation with the open. And I actually wanted to take Not Dow was dropping so much more aggressively, so I was actually more mindful, and I wanted to take NQ off the open, but I just saw it a few minutes too late to check out this position here. So we had the market come down to here. Now here's where the market gaps last week into the new day. So it opens here and then plays out. To say that there's liquidity here, we'll see. It's kind of tricky when you have an open right there. But when we're looking at this and when we're comparing NQ with YM, the move to the downside with Dow Jones is way more aggressive. Like just significantly more aggressive. We get down to, these levels. So it looks to me like we're at, like this is as efficient as we're gonna get for now. So we get all the way down to here. We rebalance the zone. We mitigate. We talked about this last week as well. Now, of course, we have this higher time frame zone as well from May 23rd. It's huge, when it rebalances over here. So we've seen all of that. There's a chance that we play over down to here. There is a chance. I definitely won't get that. I won't say it's impossible or anything. There's definitely a chance we get down here. So right now we're looking pretty efficient. I'd say if we get down here, I don't see it lasting very long. I think it'll be a low demand moment. But as of right now, we play out of here really well. We see that there's very little demand over here. So even if we do get back down to this zone, I think we will bounce and we can see a good trade. We'll kind of see if there's other confirmations, because if we, for example, get higher highs here on the 1 hour and we see demand up here, then I'd be looking to trade out of here instead. So looking at Dow Jones, if we can go even more bullish than what we're seeing right now, because right now, I mean, you guys see this, right? We dropped our way down to here. So the market rebalances, mitigates, and then here was the open from Friday to Sunday. So at the moment, we have that huge sell-off. This liquidates retail buy positions, lures in sell stops, so it triggers sell stops in. Then the market reverses. So right now, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but on Friday, I gave you guys clues on what I was looking at for indices on my Instagram. I drew up the zone here for the sell and the zone here for the buy. So actually both played out. So if anyone happened to see it, that was definitely right there, right for you guys. But right now, I don't necessarily see like a huge opportunity for shorts. We did get below here to end the week, but I mean, it was pretty short-lived before we gapped down and then come back up again. So it's okay, but it's not the best. So looking at the market here, we see these were the highs from last week. So do I think that we clear last week's highs? Absolutely. I think we get up above last week's highs. I don't necessarily see us trading and then out of here. So I'm going to mark it up because I guess it's a possibility. We see a influx of volume here right there. Market trades up. So we got that textbook push to the upside. And then we see it come back down. So could we get something here? Maybe. It's not bad. I would definitely lean on NQ in order to have the ideal play here. So here we go again. This is now just the current contract that we're rolling over into. And then if we look at NQ is already trading up in this zone. So we already have NASDAQ trading up here. So would you want to short that? No, I wouldn't. I think that we could see the market get above this zone, play into maybe the imbalance from last week as well. So not only clear Friday, but get into this Thursday Asian session open. I think this is kind of where we're going to see a bit more. So right now we're going to be seeing New York open. You're going to start seeing some volatility. So let's get some visibility here on both. All right, so you guys can kind of check the vibe over here. All right, here we go. So now we have NASDAQ on the right side of the screen. We have the opening movement. We have Dow Jones on the left side of the screen. So as you guys can see, NASDAQ's already picking up momentum. Starting today's session off very bullish. Look at that. Just like that, we're starting to clear the zones. It looks like we're about to clear these highs as well. So here we go. Let me just place a little alert here. I don't want it too loud so it doesn't destroy your ears. And that could bring us towards this zone where we could see a short from here. So look at this. NASDAQ already starting to clear. Here we go. New York session highs. So look at how much more bullish momentum there is over here, while Dow Jones is lightly, steadily working its way up. So we may have an opportunity for shorts with Dow. Let's see if we can get NASDAQ to play into this Asian session open right over there from last Thursday. Let's see if we get that. So meanwhile, if I'm looking for a short on like Dow, so let's say I'm looking for something in here, I really am not looking to sell this unless we get into that zone. So here, and then, we're looking at maybe, it's going to be less than 90 point stop in my opinion. Something like that. Entry around, 42,850, maybe a little bit higher. And then, give some points above. All right, so something like this. So, for example, if I was going to take a trade like this, it's looking like 10 contracts for micros. All right. Here we go. So look how we came up to here, right? Kind of started to reject right into this zone. I think we can play up into here, though. Excuse me. So let's give it some time. Look at the difference right now. We saw the bullish momentum. We see this sweep of liquidity right now at NASDAQ, so it clears these highs. But we're now starting to push down right away. So we may be seeing the classic sweep. So this clears out retail sellers. Right now we're also seeing the market lure in some buyers, the typical break and retest plays here. So we're seeing it lure in some buyers. At the same time now, if you look at how price action is playing out with Dow Jones is still pushing up. So we want to see this get above these London session highs. We want it play into the zone a little more. I want it to trade a little higher here. So if we can see that mitigation right around this area. And look at how we're seeing a switch in momentum. Dow is still pushing higher. And then meanwhile, NASDAQ is kind of starting to slow down that price action. Look at that. I may flip my bias to shorting and Q. And I actually had that feeling. I was like, oh, you know what? We might actually get into this area. Because look at how right now NASDAQ or Dow is still pushing higher, and NQ is barely moving to the upside. So this to me looks like a good opportunity for shorts. So I'm going to go ahead and take my position here on NQ. Oh, NQ is already starting to move. Dang. If we can play back into here, because right now we're seeing a textbook like break and retest. So this lured in some buyers. Right now we may pull in again. So you see how we're moving like this. So I like shorts on indices overall. Look how we came right back into this zone. So I want to see the development of this, because now we're seeing NASDAQ pull up way more aggressively compared to Dow. So will we break up into the zone? Let's see. All right. So right now I'm kind of weighing my options. We're seeing the break and retest here on NQ, so that's luring in. And remember, we don't trade break and retest like a traditional break and retest trade. We're here to understand price action. So right now we're seeing buyers get lured into the market. I think we're going to end up seeing NQ probably make one more push above this. Where does that bring Dow? So Dow, we wanted to short out of here. It already came into the zone. It's starting to drop off a little bit. Curious to see if we go up again or not. So I mean, you guys have been hearing me here now. Want to have a decent opportunity at trading, whether it's Dow or NQ, but I also want to know, are we done moving up? Are we done with our move to the upside? So right now, comparing the two here, looking at price action, seeing, okay, which one's a bit more bullish, which one's a bit more bearish. They're just about neck and neck here. Higher time frames, obviously NASDAQ cleared those highs first, and then right now we're getting Dow to trade right into here. So it's been a little bit less aggressive. So at this point, guys, I think that it can kind of go either way. Higher time frames, it looks a bit cleaner on Dow, obviously, but then if we're looking at lower time frames and just current price action, NQ is having a hard time. Like it stayed bullish first, but after that we're seeing NQ kind of like struggling. So what I'm gonna do is, if we get one more spike up, I want to see which one of these two is gonna kind of clear its recent price action. We're seeing NQ pull up here, and Dow. Let's see. And then, honestly, another option always is you just split your risk. Split your risk and take a position on both, but at half a risk if you can't make a decision on which one to short. So right now we're kind of getting a lot of sideways movement, some liquidity here. Same thing with Dow, some sideways movement here, so some liquidity there as well. So I think I would rather see, like right now, if we see NQ take another push to the high here, then I'd be looking to short Dow, which I think it looks like it might want to do right now. Meanwhile, NQ is staying relatively up here, and Dow is chilling. So I'm going to go ahead and take a short on Dow here. And then, obviously I'm trading way up here. So with a trade like this, my risk changes completely. So let's see here. Let me make sure my copy trader is activating. And then I've been having issues with it recently. All right, so as you guys can see, I'm in the short here. Let's see. So this one's in, and then this one is not in. Bruh. The struggle is real around here, man. It's really frustrating. I'm not sure what the issue is lately. There we go. I guess it went through just late. Really, really late. Interesting. Well, you guys get to see real-time lag on that. So that actually filled me in at a way worse spot. So let's see what that consequences of that might be. Anyways, with that being said, could I have waited for this position? And then we're noticing the difference, right? We saw this was what we kind of wanted to see over here was the break beyond the retest of buyers, luring in buyers. Then NQ came in here. So this lured in maximum amount of buyers, and then it's starting to make its move down. So NQ is giving some decent signs. Dow as well here. So, for example, the Dow short over here. So playing out of the zone. If I'm going to look for a mitigation, which it ended up triggering me in way lower than my desired location. So I'm looking for at least like 115-point drop. And based on what we're seeing now, it looks like NQ is actually trading better. Starting to short earlier. So, and you guys saw, right? I was a little bit indecisive on which one of the two was going to give me the better opportunity. And right now it looks like NQ is starting to trade a bit more bearish in the moment. And with how much room we have, we saw NQ clear the New York session highs, and we see it trade into this bit of price action. So I'm curious to see if NQ ends up going a little bit higher or not quite yet, because we kind of clear this this liquidity over here for now, which is good. And when we started to see this exact setup, this is our shakeout setup on NQ. But we had at the same time on the higher time frame, we see Dow, which was lagging a bit more. So we see this type of trade here with Dow instead, where it can mitigate this. So since Dow on the higher time frame was a bit more bearish, I was more open to selling Dow, although NQ was already going to here. So what's the downside to this is I feel like we may end up, let me go ahead and get this set up here. There's a chance that we may end up clearing these highs, and depending on what that looks like for NQ, we may see a short out of NQ. So we'll see. Either way, like this still was the signature mitigation play. After it cleared these highs, we saw the lower lows. We saw the market trading down here for a few hours before the gap down and then push to the downside. This will ultimately could give us an opportunity to trade as well down here with NQ. So I actually want to pull that up real quick. NQ to open with New York open here, we do see the push down, then the rally. So depending on what the market looks like here, we might be seeing a buy play right there. But this will only be if a big if, we continue to see some bullish demand over here. Okay, so right now, despite NASDAQ continuing to push to the upside here, poking up above, remember what we were looking at? We wanted to see this right here. We wanted to see NASDAQ get into these highs. So this right over here is what I wanted to see. Okay, so now it pushes up a little bit higher. Dow still within this structure, so this divergence is good. The fact that we're still seeing Dow trade down here, despite NASDAQ continuing to go higher and higher, usually that's a good sign. Obviously, there's no guarantees. We have our stops placed for a specific reason. And what we now want to see is, are we going to start seeing bearish price action? Can we see this kind of flip around or not? Looking back at execution with this trade particularly, my original thesis was, let's wait for the market to get back into this Asian New Year, like right into this before we look to short. And then once we started to see this shakeout play kind of start to build out, where it cleared those New York session highs from last Friday, it started to then pull back down. We see the market give the typical break and retest and lure in buyers. This lures in a max amount of buyers before the market could flip on it. So once this started to happen, and I was seeing pretty good price action with Dow, I decided to take the short on Dow. I think looking at the way price was forming with NQ is what shifted my perspective with Dow to say, okay, you know what? I'm okay with taking an earlier entry. So my thought with this was not necessarily like, oh no, I'm going to miss the trade. It was, okay, we're adapting to relevant price action. We're seeing bearish price action off the rip, an entirely different setup playing out. So let's look for that to work out. So that's kind of my bias or my perspective with all of this. And I'm curious to see if we get that again or not. Right now, however, we're starting to see some good bearish movement with NQ. Dow as well, starting to see the pullback. Still, though, on the drop, we're at the moment not really trading. I think we're trading a little bit more bearish with NQ than we are with Dow. Despite all that, though, on the small time frames, like it's just responding better with NQ for the shorts. There's still, for me, logically, I'd be curious. I'd be shocked if we just don't go higher again, though, up into this zone. I think that would probably trigger us into a stop loss if we see the market push up into this range. More than likely, it looks like it's going to take Dow higher as well. And then at that point, then I'm looking for another position. But just look at price action right now. See, like, what a surprise. Now it poked above. Now the question is this going to handle the structure? Is Dow going to stay within the structure now that we saw NQ work its way all the way up there? This might be a like slightly wicks above and then makes a move, or we're going to just hang on by a thread over here. But now we played into here, right? You see that? We played right into here. Gave myself a bit of a wider stop here, just in case we're gonna want to poke above here. So you have this there, and then we also have spread and whatnot to consider. But the fact that NQ just took these highs, played into that zone, I think this is gonna give for a decent setup. So, all right, let's see it. Let's see if we're going to hang on to this. Because now that we played into this and Dow is still in this range, I think we could see the mitigation. The downside is the entry was absolute trash. My entry was awful. And so since that entry was not the best, it does require the market to push significantly more to get just a decent risk reward. On the bright side, if we do get a good drop, we more than likely come into this imbalance over here and then into that open. So if we get into this open, this weekly candle open, then we can see the market rally. So let's see if that's going to be the case today. Now, my question for you, for those of you right now watching, trading this, is how is going into the drawdown, approaching a stop loss, how are you handling that? Because that'll reflect your risk parameters. So did you risk properly? That'll reflect a few different things, and you can use that to your favor because this is the best. This is how you can get just fast feedback loop. Did you? Because you can tell, like, okay, you know what, the stop that I'm using is not the risk that I'm using, it's not it. Because as soon as I started getting close to stop loss, I was refusing to take a loss. Like, I was feeling that resistance, that hesitation. Maybe it was a bit of disappointment or whatever other feeling that isn't conducive to anything here. So I think when you have something like that, it's important to realize real time, because then you can use that to making behavior shifts. Now, one thing I want to pull up here is, now that we gotten into that zone, now that we pushed up into the range that I was talking about here, and it looks like we may be looking to clear the highs from Friday's New York session. Looks like that might be a target here. And if that is the case, then I'm gonna, kind of reevaluate what we have going on here. And if we get a shakeout setup, then that's something that we can take. At the moment, I'm not going to force this. I'm at peace with whatever risk we get. But if we do clear the highs, that was an option, and if we get the right price action, then we have the green light for a short anyways. Now, on the other side of the coin, what I'm curious about is also if we start to drop, where, could we get a reversal out of this? Here's the buy on NASDAQ. We see it sweep liquidity from a couple hours over here, and then it makes the move. Now, look at how aggressive we're pulling here to the upside. I think we're just about ready to see the market turn around here. So look at that. We're pumping all the way up here. So Dow just got the high, which was not halfway expected, but there was a possibility that this was going to happen. And had I just been this patient, then right now we should see a little mitigation of NQ way up here. And that's what may just bring the shift in momentum with Dow as well. So look at that. Just like that, seeing the mitigation here. So we see the sweep of all of this. Gets into that Asian Open. It looks like it mitigates. So instantly we see a 25-point drop. So way more momentum to the downside here. So as soon as it came into the zone, right, we saw that 20-point rejection. Nice. So with something like this, if we get the proper price action now, and we can lure our way back down and then see a short, I would be interested in something like that, whether it's with NQ or whether it's with Dow. So let me zoom out here just so I show you guys kind of what we have going on. So we see Dow now pushed into this zone. Clean. No reason to do anything else. Like, you don't need to, don't move your stops over more. Don't do none of that. Don't be going crazy. Just let the market give the new confirmations if there's going to be any. We may not get anything here. So let's zoom out real quick. All right. And again, guys, like, you guys just saw the loss happen in real time. Like, we're not hiding from it. This is trading. That's how it works. You're taking setups based on probabilities, based on opportunities, confirmations. I could have honestly waited, and then I would say this trade was almost avoidable had I just been more patient with, or actually it just would have been more contracts, tighter stop. But I still would have taken that anyways. Now we're gonna see, how much of this imbalance we're gonna look to, fill. Are we gonna go all the way up to here? Maybe we trade up into this structure. Maybe we're right now seeing a potential reversal that we have support in this zone. If we look at what the market has, how the market's played out of here in the past, you can see that we've already rejected this zone here. Like, so I don't necessarily think we might hold this level. Taking a look at NQ. NQ is a little bit of a different story because NQ is starting to trade up into this range where it sees, I don't necessarily think we've really traded over here before. Like, we haven't really been up here with NQ. So now that we could see some rejection out of this zone, maybe we clear some of this liquidity. But around these areas, now we are going to see, okay, do we get is this going to confirm demand, or is this sole purpose to clear liquidity? Like, what's it going to be? So that's NQ. Right now, no reason to rush any new entries. Just let the market give you information. If you let the market give you enough information, you will get the good trades. But you need that. Right now, we saw the clearance of Friday's highs. We're trading into the imbalance from Thursday's Asian session. All right. We've seen some key levels of reversals right around these times anyways in the past. Okay. So let's let the market show us its hand. We've seen very bullish New York Open. And Q has this position that at this point now, after 30 minutes, and this 9 a.m. candle typically can create some volatility too. Right, just where this hourly candle opens 30 minutes after New York Open. Okay, so right now, moving sideways. I mean, for me, this is a confirmation for a buy. The last thing we would want to see is just on the way down, what has the what has the buy or sell pressure. So if we start to work our way down, okay, is it going to be Dow that gets into this zone? Is it going to be NQ? So okay, another push higher. Well done. Dow pushing up a little bit more as well. Okay. So right now we're not getting any, not yet, no proof that the intention of the move to the upside was just to clear the highs. As of right now, this looks very bullish, working its way up into this imbalance. Clearing this. So I'm curious if we do start working our way down pretty quick here with Dow, and we get the the reversal here, then I might be looking for shorts later on. So if we were to do something like, for example, right now, let's say we were to get something like this, then maybe there's a short for us to take over here, and then we kind of ride this out to these areas. But we need this first, and it would have to happen relatively quickly, because we would want it. We would be able to identify, okay, there just wasn't any demand up here. The intention was liquidation. It wasn't anything else. But that would have to be the case, which we don't have yet. Okay, so while that's trading whatever way in which it's trading, what we see here on the other side, just looking at the majors, let's start breaking these down. All right, so pulling up these USD pairs. Got a few things we're looking at. So the buys from the other day end up running pretty well. Shorts with that. So USD JPY, not something I'm really focused on right now. USD CHF still pretty bearish. No textbook setups there either. Same thing with the UCAD. NGD USD now very bullish, clearing highs. Looks like it's going to target the external liquidity here. So I think we're going to clear this here soon. And that leaves us with a few different things to be mindful of here. So on Friday we see, Sunday we see a nice little sweep below before the market rips over here. So, all right, there's NGD clearing these highs. That goes towards these zones. So we're finally clearing up into here. There's just choppy price action in this range. So not necessarily entries that I'm looking at based off of previous structure. There is a chance that maybe we have some sort of shakeout here, but I got to look at a few different things. But what is giving us a pretty good perspective here was we had kind of a little bit of a reaccumulation playing out here, and the market moving down nicely. So no real entries that I want with NGD USD. And that brings us to the Australian. or the pound. Pound here pushes down during Sunday's Asian session. So these are the lows. And right now we're rallying. You see how we have this little spike up here with GU? I think I could see people wanting to short that right now. I'm not jumping at this quite yet, and I'll explain why. But I could see why people would want to sell this. Has that little spike up, market drops, but it's kind of struggling to create lower lows. The demand isn't really there. That's what I'm mindful of right now. Same thing with the euro. The euro is in this little area where pumps up, then drops. What's the utility in all this, you know? And then Australian clearing highs again, and then AUD sweeps before it rallies. So if you check this out, and we look at kind of how everything's moved, Australian does a nice push down here, and then doesn't really come back to close this out. So AUD USD or Australian futures, this gives a good setup here. AUD looks clean. Euro, meh. GU, it's okay. And then, we talked about NZD USD, similar, but NZD USD already played back down into this, already rebalanced before it ran. Australian hasn't yet. So if we're going to see a short, I feel like maybe this GU play would work out, considering that everything else is already above. So, for example, when we looked at, Australian right now is trading above liquidity everywhere. Euro here hasn't quite done the same. It is trading above this high, though, or it's about to. So maybe we see it clear this high and this high. If we see, euro clear both of these, and then, now we've cleared stops here and there, and GU is still in position, I think maybe you can consider a short. But now you're leaning less on structure, like the 15-minute structure, and you're just kind of you're putting a lot more of the confirmation on divergence, and you're going against the trend. So that's why I'm just saying, like, this is not really my favorite trade. This is more this might even go way up, basically maybe even create highs. So this is not a textbook setup. Had we gotten lower lows and confirmed demand and then kept everything I just said in mind, then sure. But right now, I would say it's there's more risk added to the setup than anything else. But I could understand why there'd be an interest in shorting. The textbook play, though, is definitely Australian. This one here looks good, really good. Just a matter of waiting this out. Here we got reaccumulation. And then I would take this buy right around here. And honestly, if you wanted to take it just a little bit higher, sure, like right into this imbalance. Maybe like even on up here. I would definitely understand this one. And then right now, I'm going to be rolling with momentum. So obviously, it'll depend on how it works its way down. But this may be setting up for 3R. Maybe even if you can cut it a little short. It'll just depend on how we work our way, like how we get back to this price. But here is AUD USD. I would mark this up, guys. Like, mark it up. You see it sweep the low. Right now, you're seeing it clear the highs. What's it going to be? And then I'll come back to this here in a second. But to give extra clarity, I mean, and we look at, just to give a quick look back at indices, just so you guys can kind of see, okay, what are we doing? What is the confirmation for indices right now? And I want you guys to see the open. New York open. We see the spike down on Dow. So Dow and NQ both spike down and then push. So both do this. Say like right around here basically. From here, the market makes its move. Right? Took the L on that. Moved on up. Okay, so what do we wait for here then? Well, let's see. Is it going to be Dow? Is it going to be NQ? And they both have similar setups. So I just want to see, okay, well, when we work our way down, just which one of the two is going to get to the zone last? That's it. Pretty simple. Right now, price action is relatively similar as well. Dow slightly more bearish, I would say, just a little bit. But that's really about it. You know, we saw the clearance of these highs here. So you see it sweep those highs. Right now, it's kind of, you know, chopping up in this range. Not exactly how I consider it, like a break and retest, and it lures in liquidity and then it sells off. I would say that's not really the case. So right now, I'm not focused on, I gotta make it back, gotta make back the loss, gotta redeem my ego. No, that's okay. We just need to wait and see what the market gives us. Now, something interesting here is NQ just took out the highs, just cleared out the sideways movement. So we see something there. Okay, this is interesting. So now we're seeing NQ start to push higher. Is NQ going to clear Thursday's New York session highs as well? That may lead to something different. Okay. So we may see the market push beyond those highs. And then we could start to see if the intention is to liquidate these highs and then rebalance again. So you don't just short randomly. You don't just short because, it's already gone up a lot. Let me just see if this thing's going to turn around. No. You want to understand. Let the market show you its intention. Dow here. And then simultaneously, Dow is working its way up, filling imbalances. So at the moment, I'm patient, waiting. All right, we got Australian chilling up here. We got NGD here, just to give you guys, quick perspective. Way up here, flying. GU, still in the range. Okay, that's good. Still chilling here. Kind of chopping up. Got Euro that just barely cleared this high. Maybe GU shorts. It might sell off. I would feel much better about a GBP USD sell if we're going to be leaning more on divergence if we clear this high too. If we get above here and GU still stays in the range, all right, then I feel good. So I could see this sell off from here. Like I said, I could see we see the pump, like the buyers come in, take out the sellers, work their way down, blah, blah, blah. But, which is on its own, it's okay. I would have much rather seen this go lower low. And I would rather get additional confirmations than to force, like, oh, hopefully, maybe it turns around. Good on all that. All right, so what we can do is let's go beyond the dollar. Let's look at the metals. We got gold and we got silver. Gold, all right, opened, and then we've just been shorting ever since. So cleared the highs. This was a shakeout setup. We clear liquidity, immediately lose momentum, so we can see that there's no demand. Lures in buyers with the break and retest. One last push right over to here. So check this one out. I wasn't on the charts yesterday, so I didn't take anything here. But lured in buyers, and then as it's luring in buyers, look at how it builds up liquidity too. It builds up some liquidity on both ends. Takes these, makes the move, and then we see the market completely work its way to the downside. So pretty good movement over here. And then now the open here of the week that liquidates. This is a big buyer's move. So at some point, we could work our way back to these zones. For sure over here and short something out of this. Because there's definitely tons of buyers. We just gap down, open here, push down again, fly up, make the move. So if you see this here, all right, hold up. Hold on. Here we go. So we see it open, down, up. So I want you guys to see just how the small time frames look here, like microscopic time frame. So you just see it gaps down, pumps up. So this whole move is the buy. Big buyers here. So the market coming back over here for sells later on, we could definitely be interested in something here. All right, so noticing something interesting with indices again. So, okay, cool. Dow is continuing its move. So, obviously, very bullish, doing its thing, blah, blah, blah. Great. Dow, or NQ, now slowing down, right? Price action has been slowing down significantly. Looks like it's getting really close of clearing these highs here. So just about there. After this is where I think we could get that short that we've been talking about. There just needed to be enough need. So to see something like this and then work its way back down. If we're going to stay bullish, we might not even work our way all the way back. So we could just play into some structure. Nothing crazy, but just catch some of this reversal into another key zone. All right. What's up, guy? Oh, my bad. I totally ignored the chat. Our prices are different. We follow our contracts, right? Just trade whatever you have. I've just become numb at this point. I mean, yes and no, I guess. Like, I don't necessarily believe that, because if you are fully numb to it, then I feel like you'd have just overall less reactive behavior. And, like, I'm not numb to it. Like, I get it, you know, like, yeah, I'm just numb to it. Like, I get the joke, but at the end of the day, like, you do know that there is a little bit of a boiling point that you have. And by you, I don't mean you directly. I mean, like, the universal you, like we. And if we do feel numb to it, but we're not getting the results that we want, then maybe we shouldn't feel numb to it. And we should explore, not be reactive, not take action on that, but, okay, why is it like that? So right now, guys, I mean, markets, like, it's kind of setting up. Like, maybe you get, liquidity capture, and then we can see the difference here. So, like, let's see if we clear this. This is what I would be looking forward to, is clearing above that and then seeing how the market reverses. So what we'll do is, what time is it? 21? All right, I can stay on for a little bit longer. Kind of walk us through it, see if we get the setup. But what I'm doing right now is, I just clicked the button. All right, so I'll be right back. Let me grab some water, and then we shall resume. So I'm going to go probably another 10 to 15 minutes, but I'll be right back. All right. We back in it. Okay, so let's see what we got. Not quite getting too much, just some chop here. You know, this consolidation, boredom itself, people can't really sit on their hands. So this kind of move, when you get the big expansion, and then it kind of, like right here, right, it starts to slow down, lures in. This right here lured in tons of sellers. We got no confirmation here that it was going to stay bearish. Just kept going. More sideways movement, similar situation. More sideways movement. Right now, with at least how I view the market, I don't see why the market wouldn't tackle on Thursday's highs. Like, this is just very evident, typical stop loss placement right over here. So for us to be over here, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like just the easy stops to sweep at that point. So I'm gonna wait for that to happen, or I prefer waiting for that to happen. Even if it doesn't, it's like, well, that's fine. You know, like, even if it doesn't work its way there yet, and the market's just crashed, and that's not even a big deal, because the other side is that it drops and whatever, we're not involved, which is fine, because you have the other side of the coin that you can take advantage of, which would be like a buy over here somewhere. And remember, as long as you remind yourself that there's just a hilarious amount of opportunity, like every day, there's just tons of trades. There's all the trades that you never, you're not going to set stop loss. What do you mean? All the opportunities that there are, there's dozens that you missed. Like, you didn't see some random cross pair that had a setup, or another, gold had a different trade, or silver had a different trade, whatever. There's always just like unlimited setups. So I'm not tripping too much, or really at all. You just kind of have to remind yourself, like, oh yeah, there's so many setups. All right, so we saw gold dropping significantly. Did silver do something similar? Silver is just so sideways. So at some point, I think we crack both sides. I think we clear highs and we clear lows on silver, versus gold that is working its way back down to Thursday's London session lows, and silver is just sideways still. So does silver look for that similar position? Because this is kind of what we had, right? That big sweep down. The downside with silver is it never really made higher highs, whereas gold did, but and then just as quickly is working its way back. So I think, seeing this move here, there's a possibility that I trade something there. All right, taking a look back at NQ here. Look, it's making that push. Seeing that push. Take out these highs. Come on. It's coming. Just a few more points. So it clearing 22,200, which is the highs from this area. Now, my prices may look different because of the contract that I'm using. All right, we're looking at MNQU. This is for expiring in September. So it may look a little different than what you're seeing, like the actual numbers, the prices. But the setup itself is going to be similar. So refer to the prices that are in your broker. And then if we see the market clear these highs and start to give us the textbook move that we see for shorts that we like. So for example, we see it come up to here, and then we get a break and retest type of vibe. We will compare what price action looks like between Dow and NQ, because right now NQ is still pushing higher while Dow is starting to work its way down. And that may lead to, for example, this may lead to the other side of the coin, the setup that we want, but it may end up giving us the opportunity with Dow instead of with NASDAQ. So we shall wait and see. Okay, let's see. Check it out. So Nas now a couple points away from cracking these highs. There it goes. Okay, so now we're getting above that. We just saw it tap above. Just by a little bit, nothing crazy. Or at least nothing crazy yet. Okay, so here we, just so you guys can see a little better. Here was a previous high. NQ clears it by a few points. So now all of the stops, all of the cells that were in here, with stops on the other side of it, these are all now successfully cleared. So from this moment now, this is where I want to see, do we end up with the reversal, do we end up getting this kind of move, right? So we just saw the move to the upside. So that's what we're in right now. Do we end up coming back, let's say down to here, and then creating a situation like this? If this is the case, then sells are imminent here. All right, all right. Getting a little bit of a drop, nothing crazy. Let's not get too excited. Not yet. Okay. So let's let it build up. Let's let it show its hand. It may not want to do this at all and just keep going. Right? This might not happen. And that's one of the things is like, because of, I've been watching just indices specifically. I've been watching them print since every day since 2019. Because I wasn't trading indices as much as I do now until 2019. So for about 6 years. Before that, it was like 4 years of mainly currencies and metals. Right now, all right, we saw the clear that high. Let's see if that's going to continue. And then if we get something like this later on. So, and just so you guys can see, so you can understand kind of like what I wait for to see if we're going to get a setup, as I just look at, okay, where do we have like the highs of a session or the lows of a session? Where do we have liquidity, whether it's trendline liquidity or, equal highs, equal lows, things like that. When those start to play out, when we can identify those first, those are just kind of pockets, right? Pools of money that we can see lures in positions. So, yeah, session highs and lows. There's like all the different forms of liquidity is that. So, for example, this is that Thursday high. And one of the reasons why this is an important, I think, area of liquidity to consider is because these are the highs right before a massive drop. So right before you see a 300, 400 point drop. Because when you see moves like this, then the easiest thing, even if people have entries at just terrible positions, just placing your high above the previous structure is like just typical, standard. So that's why I like seeing how does the market behave once it clears those types of positions. And that's what we'll be on the lookout for right now. Right now, Dow playing into just previous levels right now. Market's reversed around here a pretty decent amount. Prior to the imbalance, this is a pretty strong level for Dow. I don't just trade it because, oh, look, there's support here in the past or resistance. Let's just sell this thing. Not necessarily my entry, but I will say that I have seen these type of plays happen and work out. Okay. Let's see. Are we going to get the play here? So just had the sideways movement, cleared it a little bit more. Is this the beginning of the shakeout? This next push, the leg down, if it's gonna go, would be more than likely to at least clear liquidity in here. If we're gonna see a move to the downside. Now, I'm not saying I need to take a trade right now. What I'm saying is that we can see it push, look for, like this is to look in, the break retest here. So this actually may even just play into this and then start to look for a short. If it goes even further than that's fine. All right, so you see how it's now coming to this level. Remember, the reason we're not trading this because of the 1 minute thing. That's not why we're doing this. All right, that's not the trade itself. The motive behind something like this is because of what is happening over here. What we're seeing over here is that the market just took out liquidity, came into this range, showed that actually, there's really not that much demand over here. That's the trade that we're really looking for. So that's the actual motive behind a trade like this. Okay, cool. So now that we're seeing on a higher time frame, you guys are starting to see that we didn't get the demand above here. This wasn't the higher high confirmation. This was the this is not that. This is we only push price up to here to liquidate sellers. Isn't that many buyers in the market, and you're also starting to see a shift in momentum overall. Now, if we are to go side by side, so here's where I'll go split screen here, and we can start to see the difference between Dow's structure and NASDAQ's. Okay, so here's how we're starting to see this. Dow is starting to trade below these lows that we saw over here. So Dow way more bearish. Well, not way more, but more bearish. Trading down here. Here we go, just so you guys can see a little better. Came up to here, now making the trading below. Okay. So if we were to get a pullback, considering that we're not getting that much demand up here, could we get a short from here? And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the market short from the zone now that we're seeing that we kind of didn't have the demand that was expected. Once we cleared those highs, we lost that demand. Now we're potentially establishing a high for New York session. So I could see, I could see the the market giving us an opportunity for shorts here soon. Again, there's a few different confirmations that we're looking at here, but it is starting to make sense on why the market could start to turn around from this zone. So, yeah, I mean, I'll leave it up to you guys if this is a trade that makes sense to you or not, if that's something that, you're looking to take advantage of and take a position with. And look at how NASDAQ, how quickly it came back up and is coming right back down. So we don't have that much demand up here. That is becoming, in my opinion, very, very relevant. So entries in the zone make a lot of sense. And if it's going to be shorting Dow or if it's going to be shorting NQ, I guess it just comes down to personal preference at this point. Right now, we're starting to see more volatility, more range from NQ. So what I'm going to do, since we already had the clearance of all of those higher time frame liquidity with NQ, I'm going to go and take a position with NQ here. And then, let's see. Place a setup like this. Look, now we're starting to see a little bit of a pullback. Maybe Dow pumps into here a little bit higher, and Q does the same potentially. So another little pullback up into this range. Let's see if we get it. And if you guys have opportunities like this and you're like, I don't know if I should go with NQ, if I should go with Dow, then you could always go half and half. Like half your risk goes to one, half your risk goes to the other. So like let's say you risk 1% or whatever, then 0.5% you trade NQ, 0.5% on Dow. If you just are kind of struggling with making that commitment with that opportunity. So I'm going to take a position right now. I'm going to use not my full position because I'm open to the stop over here. Actually, hold up. There we go. And then I'm shorting here. Buy stops over here. Oh, that didn't go through for sure. For the sake of this here. All right, my copy trade didn't go through, so I'm going to take another shot at this thing. And it's still not doing it. All right, so what I want to do is this. Where is this? Here. And then I got to move this up. Take this to here. 1 second, guys. Okay, here we go. And then that should go there. Okay, perfect. Had to switch up my accounts so I can copy trade the rest of them. All right, so here's my second shot of the day. Seeing the divergence between NQ and Dow. Looks like Dow might push a little bit higher. One more time. This is trading slightly lower. This to me looked like we didn't really have too much demand. Could have been wrong, or looks like I might be wrong. And then either way though, because it's our tight stops, our R is fantastic if it does give me the short. And if not, then whatever. It is not a big deal to me. Now what I want to get confirmation on is, dude, is this thing copying or not? What the heck? This is really annoying. In this case, I guess it's a good thing, but you know, like if you know you pay for a product, you'd think it would function properly. Because this didn't copy through to anything else. That's trash. All right, hold on, guys. This looks like it'll be like, oh, well, nice. Worked out in your favor this time, I guess, huh? Like, but either way, not ideally what I would want. And look at this spike on MNQ that did not happen with NQ. Order ticket. Let's see if I can get this thing here. All right, let's see. So that's kind of annoying, right? You see, if you're trading micros, you got an extra spike here because a little bit of volume came in, and you take the hit on that. That didn't occur with NQ. Interesting. Seeing equal highs build up here. So the setup still stands. Like, this is still valid. I think maybe Dow pushes up a little bit one more time. But the setup is still valid. Let's see. I think it played out of here, though. I see why. Here we go. Okay. There it is. So, MNQM, MNQU. Interesting. So even though we already rolled over on, for some brokers, we see the contract roll over onto U. Looks like volume was better still at the moment, maybe just for this week with this current one. Interesting. All right, anyways, so let me place the stop here. So just in case we do get another upswing in another little spike for no reason, we'll be good here. All right, see this one roll through. Let's see if this is open beyond just here. Yeah. All right, now we're in business. Cool. So if anyone's using the copy trader right now, I'm having a better experience opening up the orders straight from the platform, straight from NinjaTrader and or like a Tradeovate. If your copy trader's through there, I think mine didn't roll through because I had the June contract open. That's why. What a noob. Okay, so yeah, I mean, trade's still valid. I think the first order of business is going to be this, targeting this liquidity here, getting below to this. From there, then I'd probably start managing. Then I would manage my stop. I'd tighten it up a little more. You know what? I like that I'm seeing real time kind of issues with copy traders or just things to consider, and you guys get to see it too. And then that way you guys can save yourself some time, energy, and money on how to use them, because there's definitely little things that I have to keep in mind, and it's just the cost of business. Like, all right, cool, managing this much or using resources for whether it's prop firms or live accounts, and understanding better margins with because that'll be what I'll introduce probably maybe not this month, but maybe next month, is kind of the difference in trading your own capital with futures versus trading here, just like prop firm stuff, which is significantly easier. Or you just have, there's a lot of pros to it. I wouldn't say it's like easier or harder. It's pretty similar. That is interesting though. Like this here, I'm gonna look a little deeper into, because there is a difference in how well the market absorbs orders, like depending on the contract that you're trading. Because CFDs, if you had a good broker, then you didn't see a spike up. Because this is here the June contract, this held up structure really well, and then when we looked at the September contract, it did not. And of course, like if you're trading Top Step, right? With Top Step, they already switched over to the September contract and it spiked up. With your CFDs prop firms, I wonder what this looked like. Let me know. What broker do you have? Did you get a spike or not here? I'm curious to see it. Why would you not be looking at NAS taking Wednesday's highs rather than Thursdays? It's just relevant right now. Bless you. So this is just relevant. Right? Like if you think about the orders that are in for shorts right here. Excuse me. If you think about the orders that are here, it's like there's a ton. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of liquidity right here. So can we trade up into here at some point? For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we'll get up to here. But right now, what's the current structure that we would see many be involved in? Is okay, there's stops above the previous high. That's the constant narrative context is previous high, previous high. So that's what we were looking for here, is this liquidity capture, and then do we get extra confirmation, which is what we got here. We saw little demand. Right now we're seeing liquidity. So right here, tons of buyers building up. More than likely, we see this spike below. with something like that, then you have two options. You can either choose to eliminate risk completely off the table if it does break through, because the initial target, like the motive behind, let's say, an initial drop would be the liquidity in proximity, which would be like all of these. From there, you either get a good sweep down, and then the market either stays down here and then can target more, or it doesn't. And let's say it sweeps quickly and then comes right back up. Those are good signs that, oh, the market didn't actually have an intention of confirming this direction. Its only motive was this liquidity before it could rally, which is possible. But that's how you can kind of adapt to what the market is showing you. Fighting pips, no spike up. Okay, cool. Thanks, Timon. Good to know. Good to know. Let's see here. Is it just me or Dow just chilling? Yeah, Dow's just chilling. Okay, that's cool. So what I would say, guys, if you're trading with Top Step, at least, it seems like it's maybe one of the few, but Top Step, since it's already rolled out September contracts, trading those, open your stops a bit if you're going to be trading small time frames, in case you have those spikes like we just saw today. So, okay, we got a little push here. Down. This is still building up liquidity, like right over here. So, probably go down a bit further. I wonder if I can... Is there a way to get this less in my way? As we break through right now, looks like we're cracking through and intending to break through liquidity here. I'm going to tighten on my stops. Like, we're getting pretty good price action. Now, specifically, it looks like it's breaking lower more quickly. It's kind of leading the push down. So if that's the case, if it's going to play out, which should be respecting structure pretty well. So, I mean, we'll see here. We'll see what it looks like. All right, you guys, you learn anything so far? Y'all here learning something? ¿Qué es buy stop? Es el stop loss, básicamente. Por ejemplo, cuando abres una posición o una venta, una compra es lo que cierra la venta. Entonces, esto es básicamente tengo que comprar mi posición para cerrar la venta. Como en CFDs, cuando operas con, como digamos, MetaTrader, TradeLocker, SetTrader, cosas así, estás operando CFDs, entonces solo usas stop loss. Pero es básicamente, en un caso, cuando tenemos ventas, este es un stop loss. Okay, let's see. NQ not quite breaking through yet. I would say more and more liquidity still. I'm going to tighten up a bit here, playing into this structure. Give us a bit of space. Reduces risk. Right now, we got more buyers getting lured in here. More buyers here. For sure. And one thing that I keep in mind when I'm looking at price action and how these compare to one another here, for example, if we see Dow, let's say, rebalance here, same thing with NQ, we're just kind of trading in the zone, and then we see another push down, then we see really efficient movement. That's when we can start to really tighten up. Like right now, we just came into here. If we start to see more aggressive bearish momentum with NQ out of this zone, it really helps us be able to manage our stop and have intentional positioning, intentional, like the market is just moving in a very healthy way. So you have not just like, let me move my stop to protect money, but it also you have, I can adjust my stop loss or my protective stop, and there's logic behind it, not just financial motive. So the best case scenario would be that NQ starts dropping again first, faster, and also already have very like healthy, efficient price action. And then our trade should be in the clear there. Now, if you're thinking, okay, so what's the take profit? Assuming that this plays out, which it might not. Because right now, look at where Dow is. Dow's around here, and Q's trading up here. So we'll see. But zooming out a little, I want to see the market, rebalance, work its way back into this zone. We're going against momentum, so definitely a reason why the market may only, reverse a decent amount. It doesn't necessarily have to reverse a whole bunch. So trading back down into kind of where we've seen some resistance before, that might be good. So I'll actually place an alert right there. Boom, right there. So once we start to work our way down, we can just keep that in mind. So you have, that's one area of interest. If you go and zoom in a little more, this is kind of where we started moving sideways. Just over here, it's almost like traffic. So you can apply the same principle to price action over here. Here's where we had that spike down after New York Open and then the continuation. So kind of trading into this range is where the the market might be just, okay, filling imbalance, continuing to the downside. Right now, what is annoying is that NQ here is trading up way higher than we're seeing Dow do. So this might be one of the occasions where we see the market spike up again, then make the move. Now, originally our stop is a bit more anyways. So my trade does have room if I wanted to go like this to adapt to the current market price action. Then I'd still be trading under my risk parameters, and I'm just adapting to what the market is showing me. That's something that I could do. But you can't do it because you fear losing money. You can't do it because you're like, I just don't want to have the feeling of a loss. That's what you want to be mindful of. So the moves, you want to have intention with it, right? That's like the big thing. So right now, look, we're seeing Dow start to push down. We saw it clear these lows here quickly, seeing it happen there. So right now, we haven't seen NQ quite take these lows yet, but we are seeing Dow do that. So clear out stops for anyone that was still in buys. Now what we want to notice is this little pullback just to rebalance, and then the continuation, and then at what pace do we see NQ do the same, if at all. 42, 480. Good target for Dow to the downside. 42, 480. Yeah. Now look, Dow trading over here and Q still wilding all the way up here. This is giving me signs that Dow is a better trade. The fact that we're still pushing downwards and Q is trading over here, in my opinion, is, yeah, I mean, that's just the matter. Like the reality is that, okay, Dow ended up now giving much better price action, continuously to push down. It's trading over here. So relevant, actually, it's trading pretty similar, because it's like, if you look at where we were in price around here, it's where we were at in price down here, for example. That's where we're at right now. This candle is this candle right there. So, yeah, Dow trading much more bearish. Honestly, that goes to show, like, maybe we get lucky and we push downwards, but the better position here is Dow shorts. So if I wanted to be just not dealing with this anymore, then either I can close and take whatever little profit that I have right now, or I can just tighten this up and then not deal with it anymore. Because what this looks like, it looks like it's gonna pump higher. So I'm actually gonna take my trade, close that, and hold on, let me make sure I'm good over here. And so the reason that I did that was because it became very, in my opinion, very obvious that price action is bearish on Dow and not on NAS. So I would rather see if we get a pullback, take the position on Dow, take it for the short, rather than wait it out on NQ. Which I think we might. I wouldn't be surprised if we clear this up here again. So we'll see. See if we get it. Here we go. I mean, let's see though. This would be nice, and especially if we can trade down here a little longer. This might leave though. This might just leave without your boy. And this, this type of perspective, this is like being able to take the exit, come away with nothing. Could have had a little bit over here, obviously. But just, I think, in my opinion, just having being able to say, okay, you know what? Didn't see it the way I thought I had it originally, and that's fine. Because we started to see the shift in momentum first with Dow, or with NQ, but then we started to see a flip, like when the market here, like right there, we started to see Dow is actually holding price action much better to the downside than NQ. It's not to say that we might just see Dow keep going, and that might actually pull NQ even lower. And then if that's the case, whatever, like, I'm not tripping on it. So what could happen is something like this. You may see another move up, and then you see the move down. And on this move up, so let's if we can clear these highs. Yo ya cerré mis ventas de Nasdaq, chicos. But on this move up, then like, let's say we just do this a little longer. Then something like this could be nice. And then let me zoom out for you guys real quick. So look at the difference. Came up, came right back down. So the demand here is very light. Like Buyers are in here just to push price beyond the highs. And we trade right into here. As mentioned before, this came into these zones. Last points of supply over here. So right now, it's what we got. All right, guys. Well, there you have it for now. Gave you guys some perspective on this so far. You got to see how I manage trades, entries, how I take losses as well. Last week we had a really good week, tons of wins. But at the end of the day, the market won't always give you the wins all the time, right? It'll give you losses. It'll give you a whole bunch of different types of outcomes. And our goal is to just trade what the market presents us and and not so much what you want out of the market at the time that you want. You want to get, like, my whole goal here is to respond to reality, I guess, if I could say it, to respond to what is, not what I want, not what would be nice, but just what is. So for now, we shall see. We shall see. If we get a clearance of these highs and it makes sense, like Dow is just trading in a good way, then, like, for example, we just keep getting more demand and then we happen to clear it and that kind of spikes us up into here, then I'll take a short and I'll ride this down back to somewhere in this kind of New York open range over here. Let's see what this looks like, though. Like, look at NQ right now. Looks like it's going to come back up for this. Meanwhile, Dow's still holding it down. Solid. Confirming that demand. Yeah, this is good. Let's see. Sometimes it just doesn't really give us a pullback at all, and it just kind of just melts. So we'll see. But cool, guys. Good session. We were on here for, just about 2 hours. And got to learn something. Some of you guys maybe took a loss with me today. Not a big deal. Obviously, we're up quite a bit net RR for the month anyways. I'm going to go from here. Today, depending on how we end today will probably be a withdrawal day for me. But what I do want to get you guys ready for here before I wrap up, just quick reminders on the week. I will be doing a special FOMC session. Excuse me. So we'll be doing a special FOMC session inside of the Tradetopia community. Join our interactive free community there. You got boot camps, courses, you got everything in there. So click the link if you're not in there already. We do giveaways and stuff like that as well in there, and a whole bunch of things. So we're super excited. Love seeing you guys' wins. If you took your loss like a champ today, want to see that. If you took a win, maybe you caught a buy on this. You had a certain setup and you caught the buy. I want to see that too. And so on Wednesday, remember, only in the community will we have our session. FOMC interest rates. Will this be the month that we see a drop? Will this be the month? And then for those of you that are Asian session traders, be on the lookout for yen news. You also have CPI for pound, so that should be pretty volatile. Tomorrow, I don't think I'll be live for retail sales. I don't think I'll do an early session. If I do, it would be only in the Tradetopia community. But yeah, expect me here, guys, Monday through Friday. We'll be plugging in live. Keep doing our thing all week. Next month, I will be in Italy and maybe some other parts of Europe, thinking about hosting a European just a workshop. So let me know what you guys think about that. If you want us to go to your country, your city, let us know. Would be in late July. host a workshop. We'd probably want to have something that would fit about 50 to 100 people. So something like that. But live streams may be a little bit different during that time as well. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you guys in the loop. I like the demand that we're seeing so far down here. And then I like what we're looking like here with NASDAQ as well. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be looking at getting into a short here with Dow. So, yeah, looks good to me. Cool. So you see how Dow is pumping right now? Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, guys. Take care. I will see you on the next one. Peace. I just took shorts on Dow, by the way.